Hi, welcome to my video on the multiplication of rational expressions, part 2. When simplifying rational expressions that are multiplied, factor each polynomial first, then cancel to find the answer. Let's do some examples and I'll show you what I mean. So we're multiplying these two expressions, but we have to factor wherever we can. So notice on the top right here, x is a GCF, so we take the x out. So x squared divided by x is x. 3x divided by x is plus 3. And the 5 cannot factor. The 7 can't factor. And 7x plus 21, I see a 7. That's common. So 7x divided by 7 is x. 21 divided by 7 is plus 3. Now that I have it fully factored, I will cancel from top to bottom, anywhere from numerator to denominator. So the x is not down here, so I leave it alone. The x plus 3 is there, and there we cancel it. The 7 is divided by each other, so it's 7 and the 7 is once, 7 and the 7 is once. And so I have a 1 times x, which is x, and I have a 5 times 1, which is 5. B, again we're multiplying, so we factor every term. Let's see what happens. There's a multiplication. So 4x minus 8, 4 is a GCF, so take the 4 out. 4x divided by 4 is x. 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. X squared minus 4, I see that that's an x squared minus 2 squared, so that's the difference of two squares. So that's an x and an x, a 2 and a 2 with a plus and a minus. Again, we multiply these two by 4. You'll come back to this. Notice the product is a negative 4. And this, notice there's no x in the middle here. So therefore, the sum of these two factors is 0. 9x plus 18. 9 is the GCF, which is x plus 2 when you divide 9 into both of these. And 4x can't factor. It can 2 times 2x, so but we'll just leave it alone. So 4 is a factor here. Is it on the bottom? Yes, right here. So we can cancel the 4's. That still leaves the x there. Then we got an x minus 2. Oh, let's cancel these two. They're top and bottom. I have a 9. 9 can't cancel. I got an x plus 2 on the top and the bottom, so I cancel. And that gives me 1 times 9 times 1 is 9. And I got an x. Notice I don't have to multiply the 1. I'm just showing you that's a 1 and a 1 and a 9. So just that's a 9 and that's an x what's left. C. Again, we're multiplying rational expressions, so we have to factor first and cancel after. So the first one. There we go. Notice there's no GCF, and there's a 1 here. Because that's a 1x squared, then automatically I can go x and x, if it's factorable. The factors of 5 are 5 and 1, because that's a product. And the sum is negative 6. So if the product is positive, you have to have 2 pluses or 2 minuses. And this says the sum is negative, so it's a negative 5, negative 1. And the denominator, I see a 3 common and an x. So I take the 3x out. I get an x minus 5. 3x squared divided by 3x is x. Negative 15x divided by 3x is negative 5 times. And I see a 6 is a GCF. 6x divided by 6 is x. 24 divided by 6 is plus 4. And I see x squared minus 16. That looks like the difference of two squares. That's x squared minus 4 squared. So, difference of two squares goes double brackets, x, 4, 4, plus, I go with plus first and then a minus after. And now that we have it all factored, let's cancel. X minus 5 on right here. Is it on the bottom? Yes. So we cancel 1's. X minus 1 on the bottom? Nope. Is 6 and 3. 3 into 6 goes 2. 3 into 3 goes once. X plus 4. Notice I go right across this way. As I move across, I look down the bottom to see if it's there. And x plus 4 is on the top and on the bottom, so I cancel it. So I have a 1 and a 1, so I got a 2 times x minus 1. And I got a 1 and a 1 and a 1, and I got x minus 4. Done. D. Again, we're multiplying, so we factor. We factor each expression, and we cancel. 7 is the GCF. 7x divided by 7 is x. 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. X plus 1 can't factor. 9 is the GCF. Take the 9 out. 9x divided by 9 is x. 9 divided by 9 is 1. And I got an x squared minus 2x. X is the GCF. X squared divided by x is x. Negative 2x divided by x is negative 2. I have it all factored. Now I cancel top to bottom anywhere. 7, can't cancel. Minus x minus 2 is top and bottom cancel. 9 can't cancel. And x plus 1 can't cancel top and bottom. So I get 7 9s are 63. And 1 times x times 1 is x. Now, what we got to be aware of too when we're factoring these, we got to make sure they're in descending order. So notice right here, this is an x squared and an x, so I have to go 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. If it's in descending order, then it's easier to factor. Notice this one got to go in descending order because the x squared got to go before the x, so negative 6x plus 3x. And that's an x and a constant, that's okay. So now I have the descending order done. Now I have to factor this one. Notice there's a 2 here. When there's a 2 with the x squared and a can't, it's not the GCF, then I have to go through it. I'm going to do all that over here. The product, since that 2 is not a GCF, I have to go 2 times 1 to get a product of 2. The sum is 3. And so the factors of 2 to give you 3 are 2 times 1. So I take the two terms, 2x squared and a plus 1, and I separate it and I put the 2 into 1, plus 2x plus 1x. So the factors of 2 and 1 go in the middle with an x, because when you add these two, you get the 3x. That leaves me with x being in the first two as a GCF, and plus 1 is in the next two, x plus 1. X plus 1 is common, and what's left, take x plus 1 out, and I get a 2x right there. You take x plus 1 out of this one, and you get a plus 1. So now I did all that work on a sheet of scrap paper. So if you go over here and go x plus 1, 2x plus 1, then it's done. So I did all that work here to show you how to factor that. But if I had to put all this in this problem, then it becomes quite cumbersome. So factor it on the side to get the answer. And 4x squared minus 1 is the difference of two squares, because that's a 2x times 2x. And 1 is a 1 and a 1, and I got a plus 1 minus 1. And this is descending order. Oh, I left off the square there. Just happened to notice it. So now I'm going to take out the negative, and I'm going to take out a 3 and an x. If there's a negative in the leading term, I always take it out. So negative 6x squared divided by negative 3x is 2x. And positive 3x divided by negative 3x is negative 1. And we take the 5 out. 5 into 5x is x. 5 into 5 goes once. Okay, here we go. Now that I have everything factored, I'm going to cancel. X plus 1 on the bottom? Yes. There and there. Remember, you can cancel because you're multiplying two fractions. X plus 1 on the bottom? Yes. Cancel there and there. negative 3x, no x down here, no a factor of 3. X minus 1 is here, and here they cancel. 1, 1, and I got negative 3x, 1, 1, and a 5. Final answer. Again, you factor completely and cancel, and then you multiply to get your answer. Here we go, practice. Number 1. Again, we're multiplying the expression, so we're going to factor. So 3 is a GCF, so that's 3x plus 2. X and x minus 4 is already done. And right here, I have an x as a common factor. Oops. So 3x squared divided by x is 3x. And 2x divided by x is 2. And that's an x right there. So let's see. I have no 3 on the bottom to cancel, because that's just, so x plus 2 cancels out. X minus 4 cancels out. So I got 3 times 1 is 3. And I got 1 times x times 1 is x. Number 2. Again, we're multiplying, so we factor. And notice the difference of 2 squares, because it's x squared minus 1 squared. So it's double bracket, x, 1, 1, plus, minus. X is the GCF, so I take x out. X squared divided by x is x. X divided by x is 1. I see 11 as a GCF. Take 11 out. 11x divided by 11 is x. Negative 11 divided by 11 is negative 1. And I have a 1, so because that's a 1, I can automatically go bracket, bracket, x and x, because x times x gives you x squared. Factors of 1, that's the product, so that's a 1 and a 1. So what's the factors of 1? And they have to add up to give you negative 2. So when the product is positive, you get 2 of these signs here. So that's negative 1, negative 1. Multiply negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Add negative 1 and negative 1, you get negative 2. It's fully factored. Now start. Do I have an x plus 1 on the bottom? Yes, right there. They cancel. Do I have an x minus 1 on the bottom? Yes, 1 there and right there. The 11 can't cancel with the x. The x minus 1 cancels here and here. So I got 1, 1, 11, and 1. So that's 11. X times 1 times 1 times 1 is x. Fully done. Number 9. Oops, number 9. Look at the 9. It says number 9. Number 3. Let's factor. We're multiplying. It's all in descending order. Notice. Perfect. So there's your multiplication sign. So I see a 9 and an x. That's the GCF. 9x squared divided by 9x is x. 9 and 6 nines are 54. And we don't need the x, because 54x divided by 9x is 6. X squared minus 36, again, is the difference of 2 squares, because I see an x squared minus 6 squared. So there's an x and an x, 6 and 6, plus, minus. And there's a 1 right here, so I have to go take a chance and say, I think there's going to be 2 brackets. So x squared is x and x. Now, the factors of 30. The product is 30. And the sum is a negative 11. So, 30 is 1 times 30. 2 times 15. 3 times 10. And 5 times 6. Notice, when I had a 30, I could have went with a 10 next, because the 30 got a 10. Notice that a 10 has a 5. So, 30 has a 5. And because it's even, 2 is a factor. So that's how you pick up all these factors. And so they multiply to give you 30 and add to give you 11. So that's a 31 or 29. And that's add 17 or 13. That's a 13 or a 7. So these are the 2. 5 times 6. They multiply to give you positive 30 and add to give you negative 11. So it's a negative 5 and a negative 6. Again, multiply, positive 30, add, negative 11. And we have a 1 here. So again, that's double bracket, x squared is x and x. Factors of 1 are 1 and 1. Product is 1. Sum is negative 2, so it has to be two negatives. Why? When you multiply to get a positive and add to get a negative, you got to have two negatives. Now, 9x can't cancel. X plus 6, yes, top and bottom. X minus 5, no. X minus 6, yes. Can we do any more? Nope. So we got a 9x and x minus 5. They're gone. And so we have an x minus 1. X minus 1 times x minus 1 is x minus 1 squared. So that's as far as we can go. You don't need to multiply these out and go 9 x squared minus 45x. You don't need to. Just leave it like that. Descending order. Yes. Descending order. Yes. Every one of these are in descending order of x squared, x and a number. So here we go. There's a 1. So we can go with x and x. What's the factors of 16 to give you 10? 16 is 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. So 16 to give you a 10 must be 2 and 8. And since the product is positive and the sum is positive, so it's a positive 2 and a positive 8. Okay, there's a 1 right here. So that means I got double brackets again. X squared is x and x. Now we got the factors of 2. Product is negative 2, sum is negative 1. So the factors of 2 are 2 and 1. And notice that the product is negative, so we got a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive. But because that's a negative, then I have to go negative 2 plus 1. Because when I add negative 2 and positive 1, I get the negative 1. And look around. If this is going to simplify, some of the factors down here got to be x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 8, etc. That's a 1, so that's a bracket. X squared is x and x. What's the factors of 2? Product is 2, sum is negative 3. So once you get used to that, that's a 2 and a 1. Remember, the product is on the end, the sum is in the middle. Product is on the end, the sum is in the middle. The product is on the end, sum is in the middle. The product is negative 8, the sum is plus 7. And they're easy to do because you got a 1 coefficient at the beginning. So you can go with the double brackets. What's the factors of 2 to give you a 3? Product is positive, so it has to be a negative and a negative. Multiply. Positive 2. Multiply and add. If you add negative 1, negative 2, you get negative 3. If the product is positive, my rule is, if I got a positive product, then I'll have 2 of the middle signs, because they will add up to give you a negative. And there's a 1, so again, double brackets. And I got an x squared is x times x. I got the factors of 8. The factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Which factors of 8 will give you a 7? Well, 4 and 2 will never give you a 7, so it has to be an 8 and a 1. Now, because the product is negative, I would have a positive and a negative, or a negative and a positive. But because I got a positive 7, then that means the larger number is positive, smaller number is negative. Multiply 8, negative 1, negative 8, add, plus 7. So it's fully factored. X plus 2, is it on the bottom? No. X plus 8, yes. X minus 2, yes, top and bottom. X minus 1, top and bottom. So 1, 1, 1, so what's left is x plus 2, right there. You got a 1, 1, 1, what's left is x plus 1. X plus 2 over x plus 1. And you cannot cancel these x's because this is addition and addition. You can't cancel in addition. So either you cancel x plus 2 as a factor on the bottom or x plus 1 as a factor on the top. You can't cancel. Number 5. Okay, descending order, square in an x, x cubed, x squared, x number. Perfect. They're in descending order. And I see 2 as a GCF and an x. So 6x squared divided by 2x is 3x. 2x divided by 2x is plus 1. and I see an x is common. The smallest exponent is 2. So x cubed divided by x squared is x. X squared divided by x squared is minus 1. Notice there's 2 terms here, so you have to put that 1 there. You have to put that 1 there. If you don't, you're going to get it wrong. Remember, multiply back, and you see if there's 2 terms here, there has to be 2 in here. If there's 2 terms here, there has to be 2 in here. And now we got a 3. No GCF. Uh-oh, that's the hard one to do. Not the hard one, but just tedious. So here we go. Because the 3 can't come out, because it's not a GCF, I got to go 3 times 1. So the product is 3. The sum is negative 4. Factors of 3 are 3 times 1. So if you multiply to get 3 and add to get negative 4, it got to be 2 negatives. Multiply. Positive 3. Add negative 4. Now, we split. We're doing it by what we call the concept of grouping that I explained in factoring 1 in my videos. So we take the negative 3x and we take the negative 1x. You take those 2 factors, put them in the middle. Put an x with them because they're going to add to give it a negative 4x. That means the 3x is common in the first 2. So we get 3x squared divided by 3x is x. Negative 3x divided by 3x is negative 1. I have a negative here, so that's automatically a negative. If that's a negative, whatever that sign is right there, that's what's here. And I see a negative 1 common. So negative 1x divided by negative 1 is x. Positive 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. And you see that x minus 1 is common. And what's left is the 3x minus 1. So all that work to get to right here. That's why when you got, there's the answer. That's why when you have a number in front of the x squared that can't factor out, then you got to go through all this, or your whatever way you're used to doing it. And you notice what's the factorization of this. So I look around and I see a 3x plus 1 and a 3x. So I notice that, well, this is going to factor. Well, probably, it's not going to be an x plus 1. So x squared, 9x squared is 3x times 3x. And a 1 is a 1 and a 1. And again, that's the difference of 2 squares, so that's a plus and a minus. So that factor and this factor reminds me that it could be down in this factorization here. So 2x, well, the x cancels there once, and the x cancels there x. X plus 3 is here and here. X minus 1 is here and here. X minus 1, sorry, 3x minus 1 cancels. So I get a 2 times 1 times 1 times 1, so that's a 2. And the bottom is x times 1 times 1 times 1 is just x. So factoring, extremely important. That's why I'm taking my time to show you about factoring. Extremely important in math. If you know how to factor, then you're going to do really well. And number 6, descending order, yes. Descending order, no. So I got to go 2x squared minus 23x plus 11. I have to put this one in descending order, so that's a negative x squared plus 121. Notice I switched it around, but I didn't change the signs. Descending order, I have to go with the x squared, then the 9x, then the minus 22. And that's in descending order. That's 4x minus 4 is okay. Now that I have in descending order, now I have to factor. And again, there's a 2 here that's not a GCF. So here we go. I have to go the long way again. The product, 2 times 11 is 22. And the sum is negative 23. So the factors of 22 are 1 and 22, 2 and 11. So to get to 23 must be a 1 times 22. If the product is positive, I'm going to have 2 off the middle sign. So I'm going to have 2 negatives. Negative 1, negative 22. Why? Multiply, 22. Add, negative 23. So we have to continue. So that's a 2x squared. Take these two, minus 1x, minus 22x. And we have the 11 going on the end. So we take the negative 23 and replace it with negative 1x and negative 22x. That leaves us with x is a GCF in the first two. So we get a 2x minus 1. That's a negative. So if that's whatever, again, repeat, whatever that sign is there, that's what this one is. And I see 11 common. Negative 22x divided by negative 11 is 2x. Negative 11 into 11 is negative 1. So I see a 2x minus 1 times x minus 11. So 2x minus 1 and x minus 11. And I see a negative. Now this is a negative coming out of here, so I'm going to do the factorization. Let's do all this right here on the side. I see a negative, so I'm going to take out the negative. When you take out the negative, negative divided by negative is a positive. Positive divided by negative is negative 121. So removing the negative from the leading term makes this positive, make this negative. And as you can see, that's a negative. But this one is x squared minus 121. So that's 11 squared. So that's an x and an x, 11, 11, plus, minus. Notice that's an x minus 11, giving you a hint that there is probably 11 down the bottom. Let's continue. There's a 1 in front of the x squared, so that's double bracket. Factors of 22. Factors of 22. Again, we did 22 is 1, and 22, 2, and 11. And what's the factors of 22 to give you 11? Must be 2 and 11. So I got an x and an x, 11 and a 2. And you're multiplying to give you a negative and adding to give you a positive. So it must be plus 11 minus 2. Multiply these two. Negative 22. Add 9. Perfect. 4 is a GCF. Take it out. You get an x minus 1. Now, is there 2x minus 1 down the bottom? Nope. Is there an x minus 11? Yes. Is there an x plus 11? Yes. Is there a x minus 2? No. So what we have 2x minus 1, x minus 2, and we have x minus 1. Now I could put the negative right here, negative times that, like that, but we don't leave a negative on the bottom. So 2x minus 1, x minus 2, and the negative moves to the top. Because you never leave a negative in your denominator. Never. In math. I don't, anyway. Okay, let's continue. So what we're dealing with now is some negative exponents, just to review. Negative exponents on irrational expressions. Notice that 3 to the negative 1 is 1 over 3 to the 1, which is 1/3. 4 to the negative 2 is 1 over 4 squared, which is 1 over 16. 2 to the negative 3 is 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1/8. But also, if you look at it, this could be, if you think of it, this could be, if you want, this could be 1/3 to the 1. Because if you got a negative exponent, you just get the reciprocal of that. And 1/3, reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. So you change your negative to a positive, and it still comes out to be the same answer. Right here, you could go, that's a negative exponent. You could go reciprocal of 4 is 1/4 squared. And 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. And also, this one, you got a negative exponent. So the reciprocal of 2 is a half cubed. So when this negative disappears to become positive, you flip this fraction, this 2, to a half. And 1/2 cubed, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So that leads us into rational expressions. Because if you have this to the negative 1, you could go 1 over x minus 2 to the 1 power. You could go 1 over 3x to the square. So notice the negative exponent is flipping this around, because that's understood to be 3x. That's understood to be 3x over 1. So when you flip it, you get 1 over 3x squared. And 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 3 is 9x squared. And notice, this is all raised to the negative 1, so that's 1 over x squared plus x minus 3. And because it's to the 1 power, understood. So I'm going to use that to my advantage here to simplify these, because we shouldn't have any negative exponents. So here we go. So this is an x plus 4, and it's times. Notice that's a multiplication in the middle. So that's 1 over x squared plus 4x. So notice the negative 1 does the reciprocal of this. And you notice this is a multiplication. So this is an x plus 4. That's over 1 times. So x squared, x comes out because it's GCF. X is common. So x plus 4 is common. So the answer is 1 over x. So notice the negative exponent does the reciprocal. So it's an x squared minus 9. And x minus 3 to the 1 power is 1 over x minus 3. Put over 1. So that's x squared minus 9 is x and x. 3 and 3 plus minus over 1 times 1 over x to the negative 3. And x to the negative 3 cancels, so I get x plus 3. And over 1, you don't need to put it. I'll put over 1 now, and then I'll take it away. So there, that's x plus 3 on the top, 1 on the bottom, but division by 1 we don't leave. Number 1, practice. Pause your video and work these out. Here we go. 5x minus 20. And that's 1 over 5 squared. So that's 1 over 5. So I can do two things. I can go 1 over 5 squared. So that's 1 over 25. Notice that 5 is the GCF, so we factor it out. Put over 1. Because it's a multiplication, because that's a fraction, I'll put this over 1. So that means 5 into 5 goes 1, 5 into 25 goes 5. So I get x minus 4 over 5. Again, this could also be 1 over 5 squared, which is 1 over 25. Or it could be 1/5 squared, because you get the reciprocal up to 5. Your choice. Now this is one you have to watch out for. Notice I just mentioned I'm going to go up here so you can see it. Right here. I'm going to go up right here, okay? Watch. If I had 7x all to the 1 power, that would be 1 over 7x. Because the 1 is on the 7 and the x. 7 and the x goes down to the bottom. But right here, the negative 1 is only with the x. So that's 1 over x. Notice the 7 is with the negative 1. So that's 1 over 7. So when we multiply, 7 over 1 times, that's 7 over x. When I multiply, that's x is over 1, so that's x over 7. So again, repeat, the negative 1 is only with the x, so the x is the one that goes down. 1 over x. The 7's cancel, 1, 1. So the final answer is x over 8. Number 3, again, let's see. Negative 1 is on this one, so that's 1 over x squared minus x minus 6. And that's multiplication, that's 2x minus 6. That's over 1. So we factor everything. So that's a 1, so that's an x, a bracket, 2 brackets, x squared. What's the factors of 6? Factors of 6 are 6 and 1 or 3 and 2. 6 and 1 won't give you a 1, 3 and 2. And it's negative 6, so it has to be a positive and a negative. So it's a negative 3, positive 2. Multiply, negative 6, add, negative 1. And we have a 2 GCF, x minus 3, 2 comes out. And the x minus 3 cancels. So I get a 2 1 times 2 times 1 is 2. And I get 1 times 1, that x plus 2. And again, you cannot cancel these 2's because this is an addition. And number 4, the negative 1 is here, so I'll do this one first. That's x squared plus 7x plus 6. The negative 1 power does the reciprocal of this expression. And we have an x squared plus 8x plus 12. And this is a multiplication, so put it over 1. There it is. And we factor. So this becomes x squared is x and x. The factors of 12 to give you an 8 is 6 and 2. And it's positive and a positive. Because the product is positive, sum is positive. Over 1. 1. And there's a 1 here, so that's a double bracket again. And x squared is x and x. The factors of 6 to give you 7. Must be 6 and 1. 3 and 2 will never give you 7 when you add. And it's got to be a plus and a plus. And we're multiplying, understood. There's a multiplication right here between these brackets. And we factor. Because we're multiplying fractions, we cancel top to bottom. So we get an x plus 2 over x plus 1. And that brings us to the end of multiplication. Factor, multiplying rational expressions. We factor top and bottom. We factor all expressions, and then we cancel. We get the final answer. Hope you liked my review or the video. Click the like button, the start button, notification bell. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.